Hello and welcome to the channel. This is Sam here, trying to spin to win on Zwift. If you're new, I hope I'll sweat and suffer enough to earn your subscription. And if you are a returning viewer, thanks and great to see you again. I must apologize in advance for the poor production quality of this video. I am very new at making YouTube videos, so hopefully I'll learn and get better. Still, I hope you will enjoy today's video. Because today we have an exciting battle coming up on Zwift. This is a club ladder race between my team, the team Swedish Zwifters Bifrost, and ATGNI KOM. And for those of you who are not familiar with club ladder, it is essentially a race between two teams, usually with 5 riders on each team. And in my humble opinion, this is the best race format on Zwift currently. Very exciting stuff. I usually start preparing for these races and all races really on Zwift by analyzing the opposition to see if you can find any strengths and weaknesses. Then you review the course and of course your own team's strengths and weaknesses. And finally, you try to develop a plan for the race. Of course, that plan is only good up until the start of the race, as you then need to adjust to what the other team is doing. But I find it's always good to at least have a rough plan, what you try to do as a team. And usually that helps, try to get some success. So for today's race, I actually know the competition somewhat, since we raced the ATGNI KOM last week in a club ladder race. That was 4 versus 4. That time my team came out on top, but for today's race, I think they've upped their game. They now have 5 riders, and I only recognized 2 riders from last week. They were both very strong, so I expect a very hard-fought race today. The race takes place on the downtown Titans course. It is around 25 kilometers, which is not too bad, but there's just over 250 meters of elevation, which is not insignificant. There are 2 main climbs, the Titans Grove and the Zwift KOM, before a 5 kilometer flattish section until the finish. And as with most Zwift races, the main selections or gaps in the race, if you will, usually happen on the climbs. But let's see what happens today. I have added some chapter descriptions so you can move to the sections of the race that is of interest to you. And I've removed most of the sound from the video and overlaid some music instead, as it's me talking Swedish to my teammates. Instead, I will do some voiceovers at the important parts of the race. So now it's time to see if we can spin to win. Let's get ready to rumble. Normally in Zwift, the start of a race is usually quite hard. However, in this race, it was the opposite. And both teams essentially cruised for the first 3 kilometers until we reached the bottom part of the Titans Grove climb. So I would suggest you skip to that part using the chapter option. At this point of the race, there's a bit of a push here by one member of the opposition team. I tell our team to let him go, as if he is that strong and can keep that up for the rest of the race, then chapeau to him. Rather, it may just be a bit of an attack to make us try to reach him and burn some matches. And as you will see, we catch him relatively soon without having significantly increased the pace. After this short attack, the pace is relatively hard but steady until we get to the start of the Titan Grove reverse climb. This is the first real test of the race, and while not a big climb by any stretch, it is enough to usually create some separation. My strategy going up here was to go at an even pace, and again, if a single rider from the other team gets a gap, then not to worry, as we'll likely catch him. But if more than one of the opposition go, then you just have to try to respond. As you will see, that is exactly what happens, and we have to push relatively hard to make sure we stay with the other team up the climb. For me, I averaged around 430 watts up the climb, which took me around 1 minute and 40 seconds. That's a pretty hard effort for me. And as expected, this is indeed the first separation point, and 3 people fall behind. The race then settles down a bit as everybody recovers from that effort, and not too much happens until we try a sneaky attack, as you will see in the next set. We were discussing as a team what we should do here. We did have the numerical advantage of 4 versus 3. However, we also knew that their 3 riders were very strong. So we decided to do a fake attack to see if we can get them to burn some matches following our rider, Brian in this case, and us riding on their wheels, hopefully saving a bit more energy than them. As you will see, this is what happens. But in hindsight, we all agreed that this may not have been the best strategy, but a bit more on that later in the video. As we approached the final climb, the Zwift KOM, I think we all knew, probably on both teams, that this would be the deciding part of the race. If you can get a gap at the top, it's mainly downhill for the rest of the race, and it may be hard to catch up, especially if they get, a sizable gap. It is not a long climb, around 900 meters, but it is somewhat steep, and you need a good 2-minute power push here. As you will see as the footage rolls on, Diego and Steve from the other team slowly pull away from the rest of us, and we are not able to follow. They managed to create around a 5-second gap at the top of the climb. Hats off to them. They put out some serious power on that climb. I didn't have my best legs today, but even on a really good day, I'm not sure if I would have kept up. As mentioned at the top of the climb, there is a gap to the two riders up front, and we try organize ourselves to chase them down using a bit of a TT formation. However, coming up the climb, we're all at the limit, at least I was, and the two riders in front managed to slowly create a bigger and bigger gap to the point where we know we will not catch them. And at that point, it's time to start preparing for the final finish. As we approach the finish, I am contemplating my options here. I could either try to go long or wait for a sprint finish. I was pretty tired at this point, so I decided for the latter. Still not sure whether this was the right call or not, and of course hindsight is 2020. In the final sprint, I see Nick on the other team start his sprint and I follow. However, I have some problems, so you can probably see that on the footage, hitting my power up button, schoolboy error here by Sam, which disrupts my timing a little bit. Looking back at the footage, I think I may also have started in the wrong gear, as my cadence is a bit low for sprinting. Personally, I like to have really high revs when sprinting, and it took me a little too long today to get up to speed. Still, at the end of the sprint, I hit 140 plus revs, which is not too bad for an old fart, I think. However, it is not enough today, and Nick wins the sprint ahead of the 4 of us on our team, and I lose 3rd spot by 1/100th of a second. Annoying, however, very well sprinted to Nick. As you watch some footage here of me trying to recover, in conclusion, I have to say congrats to Team ATGNI Carbon. They won fair and square, although I do think we pushed them pretty hard. In hindsight, I'm not sure if we should have tried the attack in the middle of the race, as I think it may have tired us out, probably more than them. Not sure about that, but that's what it felt like at the end. Again, I'm still not sure if it would have made a difference either way, as Diego and Steve still probably would have been too strong on the climb, but you never know. And I also probably should have gone with about 1K to go. I felt okay, and still not sure if that would have made a difference, as Nick is a very strong sprinter clearly, but I may have made him burn some matches trying to catch me, which may have allowed my teammates to beat him in the sprint. But again, hindsight's 2020. To sum it up, I really enjoyed the race. 2 pretty evenly matched teams, I think, going head to head, made for a tough but fun race. I will stop there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you like this kind of content, and give the video a like, really helps. As mentioned at the start, I hope to up my production game as I learn more about YouTube and video editing. So, this is Sam trying to spin to win on Zwift.